Hello there, I'm here with Phil Boone and we've just been to play The Last of Us Part 2.
Yes, we have. It feels like it's been a long time coming, but we finally managed to get hands-on with the game amongst one of the first in the world.
We played 2 levels in the game. One from the very beginning where we pretty much were out on patrol.
Yeah, it's pretty much a tutorial level in the game. It introduces a lot of new features that the game boasts. It sets the story off pretty much where the E3 trailer showed us in 2018.
One thing we did notice is it starts off in the snow, you're on a horse, and I was getting some serious Red Dead 2 flashbacks.
Yeah. Some of the things that happen in there are almost in line with Red Dead Redemption, but in its own right, it was a great way to start the game.
Yeah, it's
really set the tone.
It's peak Last of Us as well.
Oh yeah, 100%.
In this first mission, we got to experience some of the new things. So obviously, you can ride a horse in this opening level, but also there are things like the new dodge move, hiding in long grass, many different things that kind of come into it and make it a much more mobile game than before. So Ellie can now jump, which is
sort of thing you'd expect to be in a game from the start, but obviously it's just been introduced in part 2, but it kind of feels like it's been there the whole time. Same with going prone. It's like you've always been able to crouch behind things, but going prone just has that extra element of like being actually able to hide a little bit more. It doesn't completely hide you if there's an enemy right next to you and you're hidden in the long grass. They'll still see you if you're up close, but it obviously does mask you a little bit more than if you are crouched.
There's lots of small new features in this game that make it so much better to play. I mean, there's still times where I found myself fiddling around with the controller because the button control scheme, I'm not a big fan of it. Like I was saying, so we got to play 2 levels. The first level was a situation where you're going out with Dina, you're going on patrol to go and hunt down clickers, pretty much keeping the city that you now live in from the end of the first game safe.
Yeah, so it was referenced in the trailer E3 about them going on patrols, and going on patrols is Ellie and a lot of other people in the camps. I think it's the Jackson camp in Wyoming.
It is, yes, it is.
It's a lot of their jobs is to keep the surrounding areas safe, so this is a great way to sort of fit a tutorial in, which is also in line with the storyline. Basically just going to checkpoints, signing in, making sure everything's safe. Obviously this is The Last of Us, so you are not out there on your own. There is plenty of clickers, dare I say it, and other creatures out there that await you.
It's pretty basic setup, not really much to kind of shock you in there. Like even the ending itself is in the trailer, so where Ellie and Dina kiss, that was the end of our demo for that sequence, which then led into another level, which was several beats down the line where the bad thing has happened.
So something happens which we obviously don't know what it is either.
Oh, we know it's not Joel's death.
Well, yeah.
Ellie's out for revenge, and the general gist is probably going to be Dina who's dying, because Joel does appear at the end of the level that we played, obviously because Ellie can't do it, or she can do it alone, but he's not going to let her.
Yeah, so we were playing a bit into the story by that point. Ellie was a bit more developed with her abilities and the weaponry that she's got on offer. It also was a good chance to try out the inventory a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because if you remember in the first Last of Us title, just changing your weapons, unless you had like the upgraded holster, was a bit of a piss take. But the way it's sort of set up in this is that you can quickly swap weapons by pressing the same D-pad button twice, and it also allows you to craft ammo type. So like when we got the bow and arrow in that mission.
Oh yeah.
So if you've got the materials to create a bow, you can just press X when you're on it if you're out of ammo, and it'll just craft some more arrows. So that was really handy, especially if you're kind of doing it on the go rather than waiting.
The engagements are a lot more intense this time. Like they feel faster. You can run in and run out, and you can approach these differently. You don't have to approach them like entirely stealthy like you had to do in The Last of Us 1. You did feel like you could have a bit of control in situations, but the AI also felt smarter. They would flank you. You can hear them having conversations, knowing where you are, and they have dogs who can sniff you out. And the dogs are a whole thing.
Don't get me started on the dogs. Yeah, I had a bit of a mare with the dogs, but
you had a proper mare.
I did, yeah. But finally got around it. I think the dogs are a really nice addition to the game. One of the things that really kind of stood out about that is they've got this new dynamic listening.
Yes.
So listening was in part 1. They've changed it a little bit. So with the dogs, you leave a scent trail just as you would in real life, but you can see it if you go into listen
just
mode.
Like in real life, you can hear your own scent.
Yeah. And you can see obviously where they are and where you've been, and it's up to you to try and lure them away just by throwing bottles or bricks like you usually would with like a clicker, or trying to kill them, as much as it hurts me to say.
It does kind of make you approach situations differently. The amount of times I kind of walked out into the open and trying to hide behind something, I was like, listened, I'm like, oh no, that person has a dog. I can't approach this fight the same way. I can't just sneak up behind them and give them a quick stealth kill. That dog is going to give me away straight away.
They come at you at like the speed of light. I found myself kind of waiting back a little bit more, using the arrow, obviously going for the dog first,
Yeah.
because it won't alert the owner as to where you are.
Oh, true.
So it's just different ways to approach these situations. So
See, I was the opposite because when the dog's on the leash, I presumed if I shot the dog, the human would then know and look for me. So I first shot the human, stealthy all, and they'd fall down. The dog would be like, "Hey, what's up?" but wouldn't bark. So then I'd bet straight in the dog.
yeah, I went for the dog with a bow and arrow once, and the owner seemed to just crouch over and start crying over the dog. So
Yeah,
he made
that's a
himself a
weird thing.
really easy target.
The enemies were sympathetic with each other. I noticed, like, I would kill an enemy and they'd be like, oh my
Oh,
god,
yeah.
no, like, you killed this person. It's like, well, yeah, because you're a baddie. But you do have a layer of, you know what you're doing is bad. Obviously, it's not bad because you've got to stay alive. You do the horrible things to live, like Joel and Ellie have always done in the Last of Us series. But their reactions is like, oh yeah, God, I forgot I have just killed a person.
Yeah, a level of depth to what you're actually doing. It gives
Yeah.
more meaning to each kill. You can just run or go stealthy, or you can go in all guns blazing.
That last fight, man, that was hard. Like, everyone had different challenges with that because
Yeah.
there was a sequence in the first Last of Us where you cut through a lot of gardens, wasn't there?
Mm,
You
yeah.
kind of going back. It was kind of reminiscent of that scene.
The enemies really did just keep coming.
And they knew where you were. Like, you had to be smart. And in the end, like, I think I was one of the first people in the room to finish the demo
Yeah.
because I realised I'm not good at this. I'm just gonna run, and I ran all the way through. Obviously, dodging things, actually playing the game, not just being a little.
We saw, what was it, in the first level, there was a nice little Uncharted 4
Oh,
nod,
that's lovely. Yeah.
which was really cool to see. Obviously,
There's a-
Naughty Dog.
And there's an old PS3 set up under a
Yeah.
TV with copies of Uncharted 2 and 3 under there, and it's such a nice touch. Like I was so hoping when I turned that generator on that I might be able to play it,
Yeah,
like how they did
imagine.
Crash Bandicoot. And
That would have been so sick.
I will say this: it's a Last of Us game. It feels like The Last of Us. It plays like The Last of Us, just with some
100%.
new extra things, and that's a great thing. Like, it's a bloody really good one from what we played.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
so good.
Even though it's
Really-
from a different point of view as well, from Ellie as opposed
Yeah.
to Joel, it still feels like The
I
Last
like
of
that.
Us. Yeah, it worked.
The detail to animation is brilliant. Like, when you at the start when we docked our horse up, no matter where you got off your horse, the animation went straight into Ellie walking over and hooking them up. That was really nice.
Also,
that.
like when you're crafting weapons, it actually gives you a little bit more of an animation as to the
Yeah.
upgrades that you're doing to your weapon and actually doing some work to it, as opposed to just moving away from the bench and the upgrade is complete without any work being carried out.
Anything that you can think of you have to talk about, you want to mention?
Just give us the game now.